Welcome back. I'm Ted Thomas. This episode is all about how to buy a house with a tax lien. I'm going to go through a step-by-step process. Just take your time. You'll get it. Once you understand it, you'll see a lucrative way to make lots of money. I'm also going to show you some ideas of making money that you'll get that you won't get anywhere else. And when I finish up, I'll show you a few ways to avoid the mistakes everyone else makes, and I don't want you to do that. So I'll be right back. Now, the rules of the game have changed. In the old days, if I wanted to go to a tax auction, this is back in the days when I had black hair and I was skinny, well, I'm going to tell you folks, I had to drive to the county and beg them to give me a list. It's all changed now. Now they've taken and put most of this online. So that means we can access every tax lien auction. We can access every property. We can do all that from where you're sitting. That means you could finally take advantage of the internet and start making money. Now, you're not going to get rich by Friday. This takes a little time to learn. Let's learn about a lien, first of all, on a home. A tax lien certificate depends upon the state. So if you bought a tax lien certificate in Florida, you might own that certificate for 2 years. That's the length of time a tax certificate could be outstanding. If you bought one of those certificates in Iowa, it could be 1 year. And in 1 year, you could make yourself 24%. Now, if you bought a redeemable deed in Texas, well, Texas is ruthless. They want the taxes paid. They give that homeowner 180 days. At the end of 180 days, you would own the property. If you need money today, this is not your business. If you're an investor, you're willing to put the time and the effort into learning this, this is a business you can learn in 4 weeks to 4 months, depending on what you want to put into it. You can make money in this business for the rest of your life. I don't care whether the economy's going straight up or straight down. There's always going to be tax liens and tax deeds. I've been involved in it for 30 years. It was around 170 years before I started. Nothing lasts like the tax lien and deed business. So the question today is how to buy a house with a tax lien. Folks, you're not going to get one that easy, but here's what happens, and I'll give you some examples. So every county is going to sell tax lien certificates. So let's take Phoenix, Arizona, just to use the example. I have a couple that became students of mine. They're a young couple. Now they're having babies, so they got every dime tied up. So they're both working, they're in tech, they're doing fine, but they're working 10, 12 hours a day, and they want to be careful with their money. So they asked me about tax lien certificates. They want to buy a house with a tax lien certificate. So we did exactly that. So they started looking for tax liens. So I said, look for tax liens that are owned by people from outside the country. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, well, don't people from Canada and Brazil and Singapore come to Phoenix and buy a property? And they said, well, of course. And I said, well, what if they forget to pay their tax? And they got it. So I told them to look for properties that the owners lived in other countries. So where does a tax bill normally go? Does Maricopa County and Phoenix send tax bills to Vancouver, Canada, or Montreal, or Rio de Janeiro? No, they send them to the property. Well, what if the people had the tax lien going to the property and they didn't know about it? So they weren't bad people, but the tax collector doesn't care who they are. All the tax collector is said, look, you pay the taxes or you lose the property. So my friends, they bought the tax lien certificate. No one paid for the property. So for $11,000, they ended up buying a condominium, which I told them, don't buy a tax certificate until you look. So they drove out there, they drove around it, they couldn't believe it. It was on water. In Arizona, having water is a big deal, let me tell you. And so the condo was worth, round numbers, $180,000. They bought the certificate for $11,000. Now let's see if this works for you. They paid $11,000, it's worth $180,000. What's the risk? If they don't get paid, they get the property. And that's exactly what happened. If they did get paid, they would have made 16%. So what's the question today? The question is how to buy a house with a tax lien. Well, you buy the tax liens that are people outside the country, or you buy the tax liens where people are always paying late. Now, how would you know people are always paying late? It's really easy. All the access to all the records on every property in the United States is accessible from your computer. 100 million properties can be accessed from your computer. So what if someone always pays their taxes late? Well, that starts to tell you something, doesn't it? So there are habitual people that don't do things on time or don't follow the rules. Well, all they have to do is miss once, and if you own the certificate, you're going to get the property. Now, is that going to happen very often? I don't think so. 95, 97% of all tax lien certificates, you're going to get paid your money. So who do I tell to invest there? I said, all you folks that got gray hair like Ted does, little old timers, you're worried about your money, perfect place for you to invest. You invest with the government, you'll get a check back from the government. Okay, if you're looking for your property, it's going to be your first house. Don't depend on the tax lien auctions, okay? There will be thousands of properties available. Now keep in mind, if someone didn't pay the taxes, they probably didn't take care of a paint job, and they probably haven't taken care of the broken garage door. We're not buying A properties when we buy tax lien certificates. These people have had some trouble, and sometimes they can't get out. They're not paying their bills, and that's how a tax lien came about. So don't plan on getting a property at a tax lien auction. But I can tell you this, there are going to be hundreds of thousands of these. For example, in Cook County, I've been to auctions there that took 35 days to sell all the tax certificates. And the majority, 90% of them, were on single-family homes of some kind. But I would not depend on getting your first property that way. If you want to buy a property, find a real estate broker and go to work and look at 4,000 and find the one you want. But this is really a money business. You want to do this so you can get a payday. Tax liens have been available for well over 200 years, so it works for the county and it works for the people that want to be investors. And what business do you know has been around for 200 years? This one has been around that long. But I wouldn't suggest buying your dream property that you want to live in. This would be the best way to do it. Now, do people end up with some nice condos and nice properties? Yes, but most of what you buy is going to be on the BC side of the grading system. The A properties, they're going to be bid up so much, or a broker will buy them, so don't plan on that. This is just a money business. There's nothing glamorous about it. When people hear the numbers, they love the numbers. This is not a glamour business. You're not going to see people in suits and ties, I can tell you that. Investors that really want to get property, you should go to the tax defaulted auctions, which are tax deed auctions. There'll be 5,000 auctions this year. Each county, and there's over 3,000 counties, is authorized to do an auction. They can do tax lien and they can do tax deed. So they'll probably do both. There's also 1,400 municipalities. People don't even know there's municipalities, but municipalities also are taxing districts. So sometimes the tax will be due there. What if people don't pay? I've had people buy properties with no mortgage for less than $500. And they didn't even sell them. They just rented them for $700 a month. Well, if you got all your money back in 1 month, how would that feel? It's happening every day. You just have to learn how. Can you learn this in 2 weeks? No. I've been teaching this for 30 years. The first 4 or 5 years, what I did is I nailed down the tax lien business. And then after that, I started doing defaulted properties. That's how I became an expert. And now I've since become an authority because I can answer almost any question you come up with. So ask me a question. I'll be happy to answer it. These videos are available to all of you that want them, but you need to subscribe so I know you're there, and we'll send you out once or twice every week. You'll be sure to get one. So again, my name is Ted Thomas. I'll see you on the next episode.